First at 6, breaking news in the Brown University campus tragedy. The Target 12 investigators have confirmed authorities have identified a person of interest that they're looking for.
We want to bring in Target 12 investigator Tim White, who's been on top of the story since Saturday night with some new developments. One of the things we've learned, Tim, in the last half hour, an abandoned car in New Hampshire.
Yeah, Mike and Shannon, waiting to go on the air tonight. One thought that crossed my mind was it really feels like when we were here Saturday night for 7 hours on the air, because a lot of information and fast and furious. And a key piece of information, Mike, as you just pointed out tonight, that a car found believed to be used by the person of interest was found abandoned. I want to stress that, in New Hampshire. The suspect, from what we're being told, was not with that vehicle up there, but investigators obviously are combing through that car. The car is believed to be tied to the homicide in Brookline, Massachusetts of an MIT professor, and we have reported investigators are looking into ties between that killing and the shooting at Brown University. I do know that police learned late yesterday a vehicle connected to the Brown shooting and the shooting in Brookline. They learned what kind of vehicle that was. We are told that it was a rental vehicle, and so they were then able to try and track that car, and a vehicle has been found abandoned in New Hampshire.
And that car, any of that information, was that tied to some of the information they got? Because they did find the person they were looking to speak to yesterday, who was the one we showed you a picture of, who was in proximity of the person of interest.
Yeah, it's a really good question. As people at home will recall, they were looking to talk to somebody who was not the person of interest, not believed to be connected to the shooting, but who had come into close proximity of the person of interest. We have reported earlier today that they did track that person down. That person is cooperating with law enforcement, and that person told investigators that he had confronted the person of interest outside Barris and Hawley on the Brown University campus, Barris and Hawley building, where the shooting took place. And then right after that, that person of interest ran away. And that's the video that you're looking at now. This was a piece of video that drew a lot of questions, Mike and Shannon, because again, I want to stress, this is before the shooting. So this is not the person of interest running away from the shooting. This is a couple of hours prior to that, and a lot of people were wondering why was he running in that moment. And so this is part, Shannon, to answer your question, of what may have led authorities to figure out what car this person of interest was using in that moment.
You've been talking to law enforcement. They've been flooded with hundreds, if not thousands, of tips to go through. Yeah,
I mean, the mountain of video that has come into the third floor Providence Police Department is overwhelming, to say the least, and they have been going through all that, organizing it with the help of the FBI. I do know Providence Police Department has reassigned officers to handle the tips that are flooding in at this moment. And so obviously some of that information led to some breaks in the case. Again, want to stress, as of this point, our knowledge is they do not have anyone in custody, but it does sound like they're making headway. And we do know, as you said at the top of the newscast, they know who they're looking for. They have a name of a person of interest, and we are waiting eagerly to see if they're going to release that name at a news conference, which we're expecting at some point tonight, but they haven't said the time.
Now, they've been kind of piecing together a profile of this person as we've gone on. Of course, we're on day 6 at this point.
Yeah, that's right.
Since the shooting. Do they believe that this is someone who is really good at keeping their identity hidden? They're sophisticated?
That is the exact word that law enforcement officials and sources that I'm talking to have used. He is sophisticated. This car in New Hampshire that was abandoned, we are told, has been there for some time. I don't know if that means a day or days, plural, but it has been there for a while, which suggests that that person moved on to another mode of transportation, and they're having trouble tracking that person using cell phone technology. Well, I'm sure find out why in the days to come, but sophisticated is the word that they're using.
And they said earlier, a few days ago, that the classroom was targeted. That building was targeted.
Yeah, that's right. And as far as I know, at this hour, that classroom is still a crime scene, but they have gathered evidence from that classroom that potentially will be helpful as they move forward, including evidence that has DNA on it that is being tested as we speak.
It's got to be frustrating to hear that the car was found there abandoned, and we're yet again trying to chase and find this person? Because as much as we all want to see the person brought to justice, I'm sure police do, and all of the viewers out there too.
I think last night, in our newscast last night, I said that the sense I was getting from law enforcement at that time was frustration and fatigue. There's a different sense right now. I don't want to call it optimism, but there's definitely an energy among people who have been investigating this for 6 days. Today is the most significant day in their investigation thus far. And again, we hopefully will learn a lot more whenever that press conference happens.
On Saturday night, you brought up the Fusion Center and how sharing information, and now we're talking about 2 states that are working together.
Great question. And why that is significant is that because it is now a multi-state investigation or search or manhunt, we should say, if they find this individual, and it is looking more and more likely that they will not find this individual in Rhode Island, then this will almost certainly turn into a federal case at that point, because the person has crossed state lines. And so they would have to work with federal authorities. The Attorney General's office in Rhode Island has been working with federal authorities since day one, but that is going to become more important if they find this person in another state.
And as Tim mentioned, we are awaiting a press conference at Providence Public Safety Headquarters, and Alexandra Leslie is there waiting for that to begin. Let's go to her right now. Alex.
Well, guys, I've been waiting at the police station since 9:30 this morning, where I've seen law enforcement come in and out of the building all day. It's been a typical sight throughout the course of this investigation, though city officials today have been radio silent for much of the day, signaling that there may be something going on. We just don't quite know exactly what. Now, we had been expecting a 4 o'clock briefing, as you've mentioned, though at just around 3 o'clock that was postponed indefinitely. However, we do have evidence that there is something coming down the pipeline here. We've seen people prepare the briefing room, putting down tape on the ground to note that there will be speakers here. Those speakers include the usual folks that have been coming to the podium, including Colonel Oscar Perez, Mayor Brett Smiley, as well as Attorney General Peter Nerona and reps from the FBI. We also know that there is someone from the ATF expected to be here, as well as Brown University President Christina Paxson and Governor Dan McKee. Now, we haven't seen any of those people come into the room yet, but we have seen a couple of people from the mayor's office, again, get this room ready. I did also see Major David LePayton come into the room briefly, but then he exited from the back of the room. And I also want to note something that may be of significance. They had a piece of paper on the inner part of the podium that said the tip line in big print so that people could note it every time that they've had a briefing. That has been taken off of the podium as of about an hour ago. So that's just something that I'm seeing here. Again, no word yet on an official time. I want to turn things over now to my colleague Kayla Fish, who's live outside the memorial outside of Brown University with the latest there. Kayla?
Well, Alex, that's right. We're standing here in front of Barris and Hawley, where, as Tim mentioned, there is a crime scene inside, evidence collected by investigators as they continue trying to track down the shooter in this case, now day 6 of that manhunt. I want to bring in our 12 News law enforcement analyst and former Rhode Island State Police Colonel Stephen O'Donnell. A lot of developments this evening, as Tim mentioned, maybe the most significant day in this investigation. We have an abandoned vehicle. Police now know specifically the person that they're looking for. How does all of this affect how the suspect may be reacting right now?
Well, Tim mentioned he's sophisticated, so I'd add devious. So those two things, not good scenario that he's still on the loose. So it puts other people possibly in jeopardy. We got to talk about it. If that vehicle was recovered, how'd he leave? Stole a car, carjacked, kidnapped somebody, they're driving the car. There's so many different things that could happen that need to be addressed pretty soon by wherever it may be in New Hampshire, making sure there are roadblocks. Did it happen yesterday? Is it today? So it's unfolding, complicated. It appears from what you just mentioned on the podium that they're going to release a tip line, which would tell us the person's not in custody. And if the person was in custody, the people coming into the Providence PD, you would kind of know it. It would kind of trickle out in their own way, even though they want to get it out to the public. So again, I think Tim's mentioned, we don't know when that car was abandoned, so that person could be anywhere. And that means if they're devious enough to do this and possibly involved in the homicide in Mass, there's nothing that would stop them until they're taken off the street, one way or the other.
And that's, of course, why police are working so hard to track this person down. As they work to do that, in the meantime, now that they know specifically who they're looking for, they're also looking into this person's background.
Yeah, everything related. Is there a connection in New Hampshire? Does he have family there, friends? But if he's that sophisticated, he might not be going to a location that he knows the police may check on.
Absolutely. And again, we are awaiting word from officials, an official word on this investigation, an update from Providence Police Headquarters. 12 News law enforcement analyst Stephen O'Donnell, thank you so much for being here. In the meantime, as we await the identity of that person of interest and that update from officials, we're also hearing from some East Side businesses where investigators have been searching for video and any other evidence that could be pertinent to their investigation. 12 News reporter Ethan Logue went to that area today and joins us with their story. Ethan.
The common word that kept coming up during my conversations with employees here on Ive Street Thursday was surreal. From when the shots first rang out on Saturday to this moment, for some, it's all felt like a blur. It's been an uneasy and disorienting time for business owners and employees on Ive Street in Providence. On Wednesday, Providence police released a map highlighting the area they're focusing their investigation on. Ive Street, a part of that focus. Some employees were working when the shots first rang out on Saturday, and they recall having to shelter in place.
Well, we had about 10 customers that went into the back. There were 6 staff members. We were in the kitchen. Amidst all of that, just trying to make sure that our neighbors knew what was going on, and just trying to keep the customers updated best we could. Kept crawling back there, trying to make sure if they needed anything. But yeah, just very surreal.
We just sat here for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, not knowing what was going on the phone with my nieces and nephew, FaceTiming us, giving us information about what's going on.
In the days following the shooting, business owners say Ive Street has turned into a shell of its usual self. Typically a bustling area on the east side of the capital city, it has transformed into something much different, especially during what is the peak of the holiday shopping period.
It's been eerily quiet, but also chaotic in other ways because there's always some sort of presence. It's really, you can't forget what happened here. I mean, not that we should or that anyone ever will, but it's a constant reminder just with the police presence.
Usually we see so many people with their strollers, their dogs, just people casually walking by, and it's kind of very eerie outside.
Some store owners remaining confident that the individual behind this horrible attack will soon be caught.
And I know it's going to be a little tougher to find, but I do have confidence that they're going to find him. I mean, someone's going to recognize him.
And multiple employees I spoke with on Ive Street Thursday told me it was nice to see people coming together and having businesses check in on one another in the aftermath of such a horrific tragedy. Reporting in Providence, Ethan Logue, 12 News.
Ethan, thank you. And we've been standing here outside Barris and Holly and the makeshift memorial that just continues to grow day after day. Our Sophia Zabo has been here throughout the day talking with people who have stopped by here. What have you been seeing and hearing from people here?
Well, Kayla, many of those students have gone home at this point, and the quietness here actually underscores how somber the city has felt since this all happened. Still, people do continue to come by, and their emotions are still so raw from all of this. Now, we've seen moments of reflection, we've seen moments of grief, and some of just complete stillness, all here outside the same building where a gunman opened fire on students just days ago. The memorial continues to grow with flowers, with candles, and of course the pictures of those 2 victims, Ella and Muhammad. They remain a focal point for this grief. Now, we also met 2 Brown alums, heartbroken for the place and the community that they know so well.
I'm vacillating from feeling numb and feeling devastated and feeling just enraged that this continues. My heart goes out to the students, especially the students and their families, the faculty, the staff, and especially those who are essential staff members who still are here, our dining services, our facilities management, like those who have never left campus and never left the student side.
Now, after days of tears and anguish, and in some cases frustration, we saw the first smiles today as Comfort Canines tended to mourners. They seemed to know exactly who needed them. Now, I did ask those alums how they felt about this ongoing manhunt and all the uncertainty that surrounded that. And Kayla, they told me something really interesting. They said that justice and healing aren't necessarily the same thing. So while law enforcement works to bring that person to justice, they are going to work on healing their community.
An important reminder as this manhunt intensifies of the people all affected by this. Sophia, thank you. And we will continue awaiting updates on this investigation as we have been all evening. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Kayla and Sophia, thank you. And meantime, we got another positive update from Rhode Island Hospital. We're told the last patient in the critical has been upgraded. All 6 patients are now in stable condition.
12 News will have continuing coverage of the campus tragedy in the days and weeks ahead, on air, online, and on the 12 Plus streaming app. We'll have more right after these messages.